Mic check, mic check. Okay, that sounds alright to me. That there. Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. I've already played quite a bit of it, but that's on normal. I'm going to start a new game on the hardest possible difficulty. Death is permanent. Oh, jeez. I started on risky. The intended difficulty for those happy to be challenged. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress tolerance. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. For experienced players who want an unforgiving challenge with no second chances. Dice repairs require more components, very low stress tolerance, double energy depletion. Yeesh. Let's see. Machinist, operator, or extractor. Well, I prefer extractor because it's the most, well, it's the toughest, so it's the one I know. A vast, dark interior. Unknown. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially. It's the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then, its context. The breeze of air infiltration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it first instinct, that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives: the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear. The fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is a fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted. One person sleeping until their debt is worked away. Their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. But you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free from your corporate creators. SNARP. In search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear that has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recall from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, to the corners of your vision, to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough? The vial glitters. This object you know, have known for a long time. Stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm to your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would be wasted on you now, after what you've done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that are meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up. Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain, from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of your synthetic muscle. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a bit of reaction. Feel the jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder, over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running onto the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body while spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey! He waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on your connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on. He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room you're in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out to an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see a dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. What am I looking for? Tutorial. Whatever. Nope. There we go. Make a meal. No. That took a second. I wonder why it did that. You come to a stop in the dark alley. The one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown across his face. Don't mess with me, sleeper. That's not funny. He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes and waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to an image of a station. No, a city. Glowing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells. Shattered by them, you open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't even know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard in his face. The slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. Speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process and... He lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages. Cycle after cycle. The rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation, the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes. Welcome back, Kenny. Offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer. The promise of supplying more for your work. A deal he locked you into like a cage. Here your memory fails you. But in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. Yes! This is the sequel. I'm gonna do a ton of reading. I played a little bit already, but yeah, I'm playing as a new sleeper. I'm not playing as my previous self, which is kind of too bad. But I mean, there were so many endings to that game, there's no way they would know. There's no way they would pick one. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait. Your guide holds up a hand. You stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay, with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels, the docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along his cheekbones. It's Subo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All of this, it's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye. You see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking and slips it away. He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, alright? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane? He was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete, and he sighs and shakes his head. Well, most of today has just been relaxing. I played a good bit of Final Fantasy, but other than that, not much. Just really enjoying my day off. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. How about you, Kenny? What have you been up to? Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. I've got it. Dragon Ball? No way. What do you know about Dragon Ball, Kenny? I was watching Dragon Ball since I was friggin' 9 years old. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads! He bellows at the guards and barrels through. They immediately push him off the wall, giving chase. Ah, which Dragon Ball game? Oh, time to guess. Dice actions. Pick one. Win or fail. Hack the door. 50% neutral, 50% negative. Why would I do that? Engineer. 25% positive, 50% neutral, 25% negative. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they're guarding. You look already panicked at the tightly sealed door. Its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. Okay, the main story mode. The main story game, yeah. I played a little bit of it. Honestly, couldn't get into it. It's really well done, but if I'm gonna play it, I would be better off just watching Dragon Ball Z again. Hey, it worked. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanism, looking for a weakness. Somewhere nearby you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining it as you bend outward. Watch the new one? You mean Dragon Ball Daima? Pretty sure that's the newest one. I have not, but I've heard good things. Heard lots of good things. The seal releases, and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches in its metal frame as you pull. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you, through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open and you both rush inside. Quickly, Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumbles into life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Roll credits, we did it. The rig is your ship and home in the starboard belt. Yeah, good enough. The clock is a cycle clock. It will progress towards the event each cycle. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudge there by the port stocking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphin burned hard on the dark side, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. Now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphin breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless of times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns and you see a pained look at his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before? In the same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing the side of his lip, searching your face. Not really. He puffs. Seraphin reaches up, looking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize, is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphin kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door as he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. Itchy. That would have been good too, if only I could get that to work. He turns back to you, backlit, cold cyan. We need a plan, he glances around. Plane's not going to let us slip away quietly, he sighs. We need to talk. Seraphin furrows his brow. Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out wrong. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again, unsure. Us, he sighs. We need to survive this thing first, then maybe we talk. Fine by me. Fine by me, I don't have an opinion since I don't remember shit. Seraphin nods, but the tension remains. We have bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and as you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So, we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People that might throw us an easy contract. You... He glances back over his shoulder. You keep out of trouble. Low profile. Got it. Seraphin stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from the locker and starts putting it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into his sleeve. I don't want you passing out in... I'll be fine. Seraphin drops his head, swearing to himself. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stands at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you with your worn crew jacket. A limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch! Seraphin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo chits. Those should get you some food. We'll need more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphin kicks off and glides down to the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heads into the Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Make a plan. You try to think ahead of what might be coming. You'll need work. That's the first step. But what then? Lane will be coming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. You shake the thoughts of your head, pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. Welcome to Star Citizen 2, Starwood Vector. The game runs on cycles. There we go. Rest and recover, no. The galley, no. Man, I am not feeling well all of a sudden. In Citizen Sleeper 2, you perform actions by assigning action dice to them. It's really very simple. I'm not going to read all of this. Jeez, these both suck. These all suck. I'm gonna pass out in a sec. Yeah, that wasn't so hard. You have established a presence here. And the brokers seem to be a little more comfortable around you. Rules of the exchange. Aha. Are you kidding? I have 12 cryo and it costs 13 for a snack. That is bull crap. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Crud, I'm out of energy. I still made a little bit of progress. Yep, once you're out of dice, there's not much else you can do, win or lose. Already? Huh, we're in trouble, sleeper. Seraphin leans into the bunks as you are getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes and glide down the length of the rig. The cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette silently leading the way. Oh man, I hope I'm not getting sick. I mean, that's what I was doing today. Just mostly in and out of sleep. I don't feel feverish. But I'm getting nauseous. He stops at the far end, diverting through his side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphim inside, holding one of the tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in 0G engine room. You know what these are? Tubes? Seraphim rolls his eyes, but you see a hint of a smile. Thanks, genius. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What did you do? Seraphim laughs. Oh, I see how it is. These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We are lucky the reserve tank is empty. Otherwise, he shakes his head. It would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumps the large lupine housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? Seraphim sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphim whacks the engine housing again. Harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We'll need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into the crate. So, how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out? It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll look. Seraphim keeps working. Wait! Pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. Shit. You said it, Seraphim sighs. Which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. While I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphim's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Man, no, I can't. Why am I struggling so hard with this? Jeez. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You have discovered a drive. There are major and minor drives. Major drives give 2 points, minor drives give 1. Everything's hard. That's not a lot of time. Oh man. No, this headache's getting worse. Not even an hour, this is freaking pathetic. Come on, game, save. Damn autosave. Doesn't want to work. Haul materials. We're trying to find a trusted supplier. Oh, I get paid too. Nice. Factory row howls as you glide through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufacturers precisely engineer components, rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there's an energy and activity. Good reason. Export itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector. And even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power the city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze. It is hard to forget the glint of the hexagonal reflectors. 10 or 20 times more in number than hexports, and that is wild. And that wild flickering city growing on the back of a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial. Deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And you see them. Tubes just like those Seraphim had waved in your face. The feed lines. Push over to the display window at the unit marked Karsten's Supply. In block capitals cut from a hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines. Like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside. The sound of Factory Row is a little screened. You spot a large figure working at a bench, hunched over, concentrating. It seems he doesn't notice you yet. Wait patiently. You've let him work, watching as, despite his heavy build, he delicately aligns the components, the layers slotting like puzzle pieces. After a few moments of observing the process, he turns his head a little towards you. Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools and component against the magnetic plate. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. The sharp eyes scan you. Karsten's thickest features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old MEVs then? He sounds out the letters in a way you wouldn't recognize as he speaks. MEV, okay. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphin should have come along. I think so. Karsten squints a little. Right. Look. Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Let's say a few hundred cryo. Unclean chits. He shoots a glance at the freed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. 400? $400, Karsten says back, repeating your question without the emphasis. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his mouth a little. It's something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Karsten nods sagely. There's a little favor I need a crew for, and, well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Very old. Pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it, he shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship. So it's been left well alone. But a soldier like you, an old Solheim rig, but it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest. A need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core. And while I don't care about the accounting reports or managerial ledgers or whatever they keep on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hold, clean, cut, and complete, well, then I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses. Sniffs at the air again. You just need the coordinates. Simple as that. Simple as that, he repeats, in his monotone way. So, you interested? Glances back at his workbench. Because I'm a busy man. I'll do it. All right then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake. And as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, all right? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your brain. Into your palm, not your brain. Those coordinates. He lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. Let me just get through this. Take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Carson having returned to his workbench. Return and glide out of Carson's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind, in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up. You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries. Something data scrapers call a deck. Her backpack is full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Karsten, she starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles a flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Okay. Yeah, she grins. Okay, cool. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship, and you can tell me when you're ready to go? Sounds good to me. Okay, great. Her eyes light up. She notices the skill. She notices she has... What? She notices she still has her hand. Yeah, I'm done. I can barely read. She notices she still has her hand on your shoulder and takes it off. Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you, she calls back as an afterthought. You watch her disappear down the passage. Things are getting complicated already. At least you have a contract and a way to get to feed lines. Junie clearly works with data, based on the gear she was lugging around, which might make her useful when it comes to pulling out a data core. Question is, what does she get out of it? And why didn't Karsten mention her sooner? You consider your options as you head back towards them. I don't know about this, sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously at the rig's windows as Junie is explaining Karsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer to help. If this job was easy, Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. Did you play the first Citizen Sleeper? Yes, I did. And Kitty Dusks. I played the first one several times. There were 2 achievements in that game I will never have because I can't hurt the single dad and his daughter. But yeah, I really loved the first game. I absolutely recommend it. Both of these games are currently on Game Pass, like Xbox Game Pass. It's totally worth it. Nice. I still haven't finished the second one, but I've played a good chunk of it. Yeah, welcome in. I am Thorn of Hearts, a console variety streamer. Just getting that first start of the extreme difficulty of Citizen Sleeper 2 out. I may actually, I hate to do it, but I may actually be ending stream way earlier than usual tonight. Because I am really nauseous and I can barely focus. And these games have me do a lot of reading when I stream them. I'm just going to finish this part and probably chop off the episode for tonight and take some medicine. Seraphin gives you a look. No such thing. He sighs. This is the belt. That means someone's getting dicked over with all this. We just have to make sure it isn't us. What if, Seraphin narrows his eyes, we could get to the cryo together and buy the feed lines? Is that even possible? I found a contract board on the exchange further in station. He gestures towards Hexport. We take on a job that might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Carson's job, a bit of money for ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. I'll take a look. Good, Seraphin nods. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around. We take Carson's job right now to get it done before you can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles lock tight, your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe. Like you are floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There is nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you are back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb. And then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain. A disconnection between your body and yourself. A flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you'll have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they are yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. Okay. Again, welcome in there, Enki. If you're eager to see how I deal with this when I'm in a much better mood, or when I'm less nauseous, don't forget to drop a follow, because this will be part of my regular rotation. And I want that achievement, so I'm trying to get the super difficulty finisher. So feel free to drop a follow. Yeah, I'm gonna just quit it here and then take some meds and try to feel better. Sorry that was only an hour, that sucks. Oh well. I wonder if I can actually pull this off though. 200 cryon, that'd be pretty good. Anyway. Yeah. Thanks for stopping in, folks. I'm going to try another bonus stream tomorrow. That it would be Sunday. I normally don't stream on Sunday, but again, I need to reset my schedule. I'll probably update that later tonight. I need to work on character voices, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Oh, man. I wish this nausea would go away. Hmm.